The situation with the using a tree is that the typical family tree is something that you have two people and they get married and they have kids and then their kids have kids and they die and they marry other people and so forth. But I really didn't feel that as a graphic was something that would catch the imagination of the public. So I decided to use the tree, the family tree concept, and actually use a tree. And instead of going from the top and going downward, I try to do it like a tree would grow. And you'd have a roots where music was originated, and here you have Elvis and the Everly Brothers and the blues influences and so forth that influenced many of the major early bands. And then you got into the trunk, and then you started to see who were the major players as far as what was happening in British music. And then after you establish that, then you try to branch off into the different types of music, you know, rock and roll or heavy metal or blues or folk and traditional and pop and psychedelic, and then the newer stuff, you know, the newer stuff up and hear the new wave sounds and so forth, and try to do that and try to give, so when somebody looked at it, their eyes were all over the place because they were looking for their favorite bands, trying to find out, and then using the logos off their albums, which also helped make the represent what was really going on in the music scene at the time. Now again, this was the late 70s music when I first did this, and when I first did that, that's what I had to work with, and so now I have an unlimited amount of material that I could use for a second or an update of a tree.
So this is the second update of the British tree,
right? This going up to about 1990.
And then, but in terms of where did you come up with this concept? What was the flash of genius that said, I'm gonna make this?
I sat down and I was coaching physical education. I was coaching swimming at the high school level and at the AAU level, but again, I had just gotten married, and I needed, you know, but I still had this desire.
What year is this?
1978.
Okay.
That I had this desire to always create things, make something, and I was combining my love and interest for music along with my graphic skills. Now this originally was done on one sheet of illustration board. There was no playing and picking up and moving, guys. When it was down, it was down. And so I had to live with that concept that whatever I put down was going to remain there. And then as my graphic art skills increased, I was able to do you know, many other different things in that aspect. But as far as this, I would find a logo that was representative of the band, and off one of their albums, if they did not have a representative logo that I could live with, then I created one that kind of represented the time that they were you know, in vogue.
And why sports? I know you do sports as well. Why sports? Why music?
Well, I think people lose the overall picture of something. When you look at one of my prints, you want to see as much of the history as possible so you can correlate it. Some people only, and when I did the Bears tree, people are only interested in the 80s, 90s Bears. But the Bears were, you know, one of the successful franchises in all of the history of the NFL. Here, I'm trying to bring to light a lot of bands that not only were big in England and we're big here, but we're big over there that did not make an impact over here. So I'm just giving everybody what I always look at it as a one-page history book. You look at it, and most of the major groups of importance or people or subject matter is represented in a way that you can hang it on your wall, and it can become it's always become a conversation piece.